The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the final vote was tallied. Ambassador Zethkar of the Hegemony watched the holographic display with satisfaction. 847 votes in favor, 12 against, 3 abstentions. The motion to authorize a punitive strike against Earth had passed overwhelmingly. The humans have grown too bold, declared High Counselor Vrexthal, his 4 eyes gleaming with predatory satisfaction. Their expansion into the Outer Rim, their refusal to acknowledge our territorial claims, their insolent rejection of our trade agreements, it ends now. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled representatives of 63 species. The Korthak delegation clicked their mandibles approvingly. The crystalline Vexnari chimed in harmonic discord. Even the normally peaceful Mothkari nodded their feathered heads in consensus. Ambassador Zethkar stood, his reptilian form imposing in the chamber's amber light. The combined fleet will depart within the solar cycle. Earth will learn the price of defying the natural order. What none of them knew was that human intelligence had intercepted their communications months ago. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, humanity's flagship, watching the tactical display with grim determination. Around her, the assembled human defense fleet hung in space like a constellation of defiance. 300 ships, from massive dreadnoughts to nimble destroyers, representing every nation and colony that called themselves human. "Ma'am," reported Commander Rodriguez, "long-range sensors are picking up the galactic fleet. They're substantial," Chen nodded. The enemy force was impressive. Over 800 vessels representing the military might of dozens of species. By every tactical assessment, humanity was outgunned, outmanned, and outmatched. "Signal the fleet," she ordered. "Execute Protocol Omega." Across the human formation, something unprecedented began. Instead of battle hymns or rousing speeches, a different kind of transmission filled the comm channels. The haunting, mournful notes of Chopin's funeral march echoed through space, broadcast on all frequencies. The alien fleet, approaching at the edge of the solar system, detected the transmission with confusion. "What is this?" demanded Admiral Krexvoll aboard the Hegemony flagship. "Some primitive human ritual?" His communications officer, a nervous Skeltari, chittered uncertainly. "Unknown, Admiral. The frequency suggests mourning music." "Mourning?" Krexvoll laughed, a sound like grinding stone. "They mourn their own defeat before battle is joined? How pathetic." But the music continued, and with it came something else. A message broadcast in perfect galactic standard, in the voice of Captain Chen herself. To the species of the Galactic Council, her voice carried across the void, calm and measured. "You have come to our home to punish us for the crime of existing as we are. You see us as young, reckless, dangerous. You are not entirely wrong." On his command deck, Admiral Krexvoll frowned. This was not the desperate plea or defiant boast he had expected. Chen's voice continued. "But you have made a fundamental error in your understanding of humanity. You believe we fear death. You believe the threat of extinction will make us bow. You do not understand that we have been preparing for this moment since we first looked up at the stars." The funeral march swelled, and with it, something else became apparent to the alien sensors. The human fleet wasn't just playing music, they were doing something with their formations. "Admiral," the Skeltari communications officer whispered, his voice tight with growing unease. "The humans. They're not positioning defensively." Admiral Krexvoll studied the tactical display. The human ships were arranged in a perfect sphere around Earth, but not a defensive one. It looked almost ceremonial, ritual. Chen's transmission resumed. "You want to know what humans do when faced with extinction? We don't just fight back. We make sure the cost is so devastating that the survivors never forget the lesson." Suddenly, every human ship began broadcasting new data, technical specifications, deployment patterns, energy signatures. The alien fleet's tactical officers scrambled to process the information, their confusion mounting. They're showing us their capabilities," muttered Admiral Krexvoll. "Why would they?" He never finished the thought. The data revealed something impossible. Every human ship was equipped with quantum singularity warheads, devices that could tear holes in space-time itself. Worse, the deployment patterns showed they weren't aimed at the alien fleet. They were aimed at Earth itself. "Admiral," his tactical officer stammered, "if they detonate those weapons." Chen's voice cut through their horror. "The funeral march isn't for us. It's for you. Because if you destroy humanity's home, we will ensure that no one lives to claim the victory. Every human ship is equipped to create a cascade reaction that will turn this entire solar system into an expanding field of quantum fire. Sol will become a beacon visible across the galaxy, a lighthouse warning every species what happens when you back humans into a corner. The alien fleet had stopped advancing. Across 63 species communication channels, the same word was being repeated in dozens of languages. Insane. But Chen wasn't finished. However, we offer an alternative. Withdraw now, return to your worlds and tell them what you learned here today. Tell them that humans are not your subjects to be disciplined. We are your equals, and we demand to be treated as such. The funeral march reached its crescendo, and in that moment, Admiral Krexvoll realized the truth. Humans weren't mourning their defeat. They were conducting a funeral for the galaxy's innocence, the comfortable illusion that extinction was the worst threat one species could pose to others. Admiral? His communications officer whispered. Your orders? Krexvoll stared at the tactical display. Had 300 human ships ready to turn their home into a stellar funeral pyre rather than surrender it. He thought of his own young offspring, sleeping safely in the nursery pools of Hegemony Prime. Signal the fleet, he said finally. We're withdrawing. As the alien armada began its long journey home, the funeral march finally ended, replaced by silence. In that silence, the galaxy learned a new truth. Some species, when pushed to extinction, don't just die. They take the concept of victory with them. Humanity had shown up to their own funeral and made the mourners leave instead. Ambassador Zethkar would later write in his classified report, recommend immediate diplomatic engagement with human leadership. Species classification updated from manageable primitive to extinction-level threat. Extreme caution advised for all future interactions. The vote to strike Earth was quietly stricken from the official records. Some lessons the Council decided were too dangerous to document.